Okay, we're good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next NSL live talk. We haven't done this in a while now. I mean, I haven't done it in a while now, and same thing. Their king, Dirk Venter, in time scoring system, directly from and live from South Africa. You guys were not at home for a little while. What was going on?
Well, we had our South African Nationals. It happened at the Johannesburg Skydiving Club, which is about 100 kilometers or so from us. It's in a town called Coltonville. And we were happy and feeling very fortunate that we could actually have the Nationals this year, because, of course, last year we had lockdown and restrictions, so those kind of events couldn't happen live. But yeah, we managed it. So we've had our 2021 National Championship.
And was a live event, not a cloud event, a live event, right? With people.
Yes, an actual live event with people, because quite unusual.
Yeah.
It was actually quite a strange sensation to have to be around so many people, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going from live event to cloud event to live event. You know, you couldn't. You were involved at the same time recently heavily into the cloud event, the Shamrock Showdown cloud, which was first a live event, then it turned into a cloud event, and then it was a live event again, and now we are on the cloud again. And you're a big part of the cloud. Actually, the South African Nationals kept you from judging the Russian 8-way team from Tanai. Now
it wasn't the Nationals that stopped us. It's the town's shocking internet connectivity.
The what? Sorry.
Yeah, the entire town. It wasn't the Nationals that stopped us. It was the entire town's internet connection.
Oh.
Pretty much all the town has is the skydiving club. It's about the highlight of the area, and internet is not a thing there.
So now we're going back. You are back home now. So the internet is functioning, and we're going to get the judging panel back together very soon, probably tomorrow, to whenever Jim and the other judging, when the complete judging panel, it's the same judging panel in this case. You know, it's not like the NSL network usually works, like different judging panels, and then just to have the same leaderboard. This is the same judging panel. So we keep the consistency on the judging for the world-class event. So we have a leaderboard so far. I'm sure you know it in and out, and you've looked at everything, and it's the 8-way competition that is so exciting, isn't it?
Yep.
What do you see so far? We haven't, you know, the Russian video, we have seen the videos, and as to be expected, you know, it is surely on the same top level where the other teams are. But what do you think so far if you're looking at the current leaderboard?
So we haven't actually obviously looked at the Russian jumps at all, because we would like to judge it fresh. But looking at the rest of the leaderboard, yeah, it's interesting. Of course, with the French doing quite well.
They certainly are looking good, yeah.
So it would be interesting in terms of the rounds that follow, you know, after round 4. It would be interesting to see what the whole outcome would be. And yeah, I mean, I hope they get to compete at the Mondial this year. It would be really exciting competition to see. But in terms of the actual Russian competition jumps that have been submitted, we've actually not watched it yet, because we'd like to see it first time when we jump.
Thinking back, you know, in all the world meets that we have seen together, and you know, and even before, I personally cannot recall a world championship event where the 8-way competition was the most exciting part. Usually it's a 4-way, you know, Hayabusa and Airspeed, and then once in a while some others. Ever since Hayabusa came up, at least, you know, the duel between the best US team and Hayabusa was always a highlight. And then before France focused on 8-way, you know, the French 4-way team was always a part of it. So we had 3 teams at least, you know, in 4-way going at it, and now it's 8-way, you know, with those.
It's nice to see. It really is nice.
It's nice to see. I mean, I've always had, you know, for me, and as far as I can remember, you know, always the Russian teams have always been in and out, you know, in and out and about, and you see them I've never, I don't think I can recall since we've started following the formation skydiving, the way we've seen them actually, you know, at a level where we think they could actually now make it as #1 team, right? So they're always in the top 3 or somewhere there. And of course, for us, the French have always been at the top a lot, and with the old Golden Knights team, yeah. So it's good to see like the 3 teams to get, you know, like all 3 of those teams going, and I find it exciting to see like a non-Golden Knights 8-way, US 8-way team.
Yeah.
Well, we had the Russians. We did have the Russians as a part of that, you know, at least in 2001, 2003, when they won the 8-way competition.
In fact, that's just when we started. I mean, we only started skydiving then. That's when we got into skydiving in. So for us, from about 2006 would be when we started following it.
Yeah, and it wasn't so close too. You know, there were the same 3 nations were there, but it wasn't so close. And we also didn't have a 4th underdog. You know, I still don't want to count out the Qatar team yet.
Of course.
The scores are, you know, the scores are not competitive at this point in time, but at least I know that Jeremy said, well, it got better and better and better in the meet. So we'll see what's happening in this meet. And then there's still some time left until the world meet too. So,
well, this is it. And how much can they train? You know, how much these countries are going to be able to get outdoor and train from now until then. Because I mean, Qatar has been training. I assume that's from their training that we've got those videos. And you said the French had some periods where they couldn't train, and maybe now I don't know what the situation is in France at the moment.
Yeah, they had restrictions. Yeah, so there were restrictions for all teams. You know, Qatar had a long break, France had a long break, now came back, and so.
As the US team, do you know the US team? Are they in training still? Are they?
Yeah.
I mean, like they can train. Okay.
So they've trained continuously.
Yes.
So that's a big advantage.
Yeah, it is. And Russia?
Russia, I don't know.
Russia they had been quite rare. I think the longest break they had was when Andre broke his leg, you know, that was here sometime. But other than that, I think they have been on it also quite regularly. You know, they were in Dubai on a regular basis. And I think Craig Gerard was coaching them for a while. I don't know what the current situation is like, but let's stay with that anyway. Before we go back to South Africa, let's talk about the world meet. You know, so the Shamrock Showdown Cloud is going to continue now very soon, now that you're back and the internet is working. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait for the Russian. I've seen the videos already, but
you see, okay.
Well, I had them even posted, so everybody can already take, because it's like a preview at a normal competition. You see it already, and you don't see the scores, but you can see it already. And then later on comes the real live judging, and then you get the scores on top of it. So I did that, and you know, again, it's will be exciting to see what the judges have to say. But what's going on? What do you know about the actual world meet? What is the current situation? Do you know anything? I mean, you are involved.
We don't.
No,
we don't.
no.
The last we heard was that there was still no decision.
From what the water.
From water, yeah. So we've heard nothing.
Yeah, I got a message from Stretch recently. I asked him directly, and he said there isn't really anything new. The status is the same. They want to run it. They want to host it. And they have quite a few teams, Stretch said, you know, who have pre-registered at least.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that's the current situation. Now, we have the problem here that at this point in time, at least in the US, I don't think both countries are allowing visa issues at the moment because of political
I think that's very unfortunate.
I mean, you know, from a South African perspective, Russia is always a great venue because we don't need visas. Where we go anywhere else in the world, we pretty much get a visa, but for Russia we don't. So it's one of the easier countries to travel to.
Good for you. I didn't know that. I don't know how it is with my German passport, so I have to research that. But usually I think even with a German passport, I needed a visa on top of that. But I don't know. Find out. Hopefully this will all be resolved before it gets serious, and which is
let's hope so.
You know. 2 more months to go, 3 months actually, May, June, July. So that's a pretty long time, even though time is flying usually.
Yeah,
Well,
things are insecure at the moment, right?
Yeah.
so you just came from the Nationals and Savolo won again as usual. Are they planning to go to the World Meet?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
I'm not
don't
sure
know.
if they are or not. We didn't actually ask them.
And I think they, going on what's happened before, they seem to take a bit of time to make their decision, because here you've got a certain amount of time to
I think you
allow
have to
you to decide if you want to
30
go. Yeah,
days,
so they have 30
And I
days,
see
so-
they entered Debbie Lamsley as an alternate, and she wasn't even in the country. So I assume that means they at least want to keep their options open to go to tonight. Whether or not they've actually made a decision or not, I think, you know, the fact that they registered Debbie maybe means that they at least want to have the option.
keep the option open.
Yeah.
Was this the official qualification event, the 2021 Nationals? Okay.
Yes.
Well, so 2 of your teammates, Jazz Republic teammates, are going to the World Meet, possibly. Yeah.
Possibly. We'll
Possibly,
see.
yeah.
We haven't had a chance to speak to them. We had to duck and run from nationals, so we didn't really get to stay for the party and socialize and, you know, catch up with everybody. So we haven't actually chatted to them, but yeah, maybe they'll go.
But you have a very interesting working relationship with Savolo, because you're borrowing your teammates here and there, and then you get them back, and then I guess
Yeah.
it's a very mutual beneficial situation there.
Yeah, it's a small pool of talent. So we always happy if we can get any new talent into the open kind of arena, you know. I mean, Amy, who's also jumping with it, she's even done a guest spot on our. She's filled in
Yeah,
for
in
1
fact,
week.
I think between the current Jazz Republic and Savolo, I think the only people who haven't jumped on both teams is Alex Jordan has never jumped on Jazz Republic, and I've never jumped on Savolo. Other than that, everybody in the pool has always jumped in both teams
At some point.
You know, it's the way we can get teams out and, you know, you have a nice team at the nationals, and it works, and it's a good relationship between the teams. It works well.
But we do like to. I mean, it would be nice to get some new blood in coming through, and you know,
Some
some
challenges.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, I wanted to get to that anyway, because there was a battle, an incredible 1-point battle behind Savolo for the second place. So we'll get to that with the NSL news. Dramatic. No, 1 point for the second place cannot meet 1 point difference after round 10. So
Yeah.
is that what you're talking about? Like, is there new blood coming now for the longer term?
Yeah. I mean, the one team that was in that battle is a new team, and they. I think I might have mentioned that they did the AAA. Their first open competition was in 2019, our last national. But they won our intermediate category that year. So this is their very first nationals AAA open competition. Yeah, the team's called Arium.
Yeah. So it must have been exciting for those 2 teams, and you witnessed that. So was it really
It was
serious?
exciting. Yeah, it was, and I think we were really lucky. I think in a year where we really we struggled to get, you know, we didn't have a lot of teams entering 4-way. The other team involved, they had actually just come out of an injury. So COVID aside, they also hadn't really had a chance to jump. Beverly Coslet, who's one of the team members, she had, I think it was a knee injury a couple months ago. And she'd only just come back, so they actually weren't going to enter, and it's really nice that they did, because it ended up being really nice, really close. Arium got to show themselves as a really, really great team. We've been watching them for, you know, since they started in the 4-way circuit here. They really are coming up nicely. They're being coached by Aiden Kirkland, who, as you know, has a wealth of experience, and really you can see a lot of, I think, a lot of Amy in the way they're flying. They're flying beautifully, really disciplined. It's you know, it's just, I think they're gonna stay together, I hope, and be a team to watch. It was really exciting.
And challenge some of the top teams.
Challenge some of the people that have been around for a while.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I think you would have, if you looked at the history of the team, they when they competed as novice, they were called Bootylicious, and then they replaced, or Amy was their player coach, in that team, and then they replaced her with a new member when they renamed themselves to Area. But yeah, they did really well. The only thing that we, while we're giving us the stupid smiles, is because something that caused the dramatic final was that between the three judges that we had there, Claire, myself on the panel, we missed the biggest butt.
The Grand Canyon of butts, actually.
Grand Canyon bus.
I've heard from other FA judges when they sit in corners and they weep softly to themselves and they explain to you about a bus they've made and missed 20 years ago that still haunts them. And I've never had that until this meet.
This will be the one. This will be the bus that haunts us. And we just could not have asked for a worse time. And three FAI judges, we all missed the bus. And it just, when you see it, you just cannot even believe you could miss something. It happened at a time that it mattered so enormously. It really is. So the judging room turned into the Hall of Shame, and we were really, really deep.
Well, I can't wait to watch it. You're sending the videos, or either the videos already uploading, or
yeah, I'll let you know the nitty-gritty details. But yeah, so anyway, so now I have one as well that can make me sweat and toss and turn at night for the next 20 years.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, besides that, I mean, Arian really did fly well. And if you look at I was looking at the block split times, the inter times, how fast they've been, they're really doing well, considering, and also it's their first year, so that is great to see because they've got really disciplined block techniques and disciplined setups and things. So for them, just the rest, smooth, getting the quicker between the random work in between. I think that they're going to be look good next year.
They are.
But sometimes it is difficult to stay awake. So I guess you were it was one of those moments when you're, as a judge, you're watching videos all along and your eyes are going, oh. Like
I would love to find some excuse for what happened, but as a judge, unfortunately, you have to man up and say, I have no excuse. I hang my head in shame, and I will have to get over the trauma.
It is so refreshing to hear that. You don't know how, to me that means a lot because it doesn't happen all the time that the judges deal with it like that. Oh gosh. Terrible
mistake. Maybe their mistake is not as big as our mistake.
Yeah, it was a great companion of us.
I think once you focus on that area of the screen, it's like you cannot unsee it. It's unbelievable.
I really can't wait to see it.
But judging the last round, obviously now we were in this like, well, let's going to go to a jump off, and I don't know if you see the jump off round, but it was really slow. I think it's something like 3:13:18 or something. So we were in this. Like thinking, well, this goes to the jump off. It's not the fastest of round.
Yeah, I mean, even round 10, that was
it's also slow.
14 Q or something, and we just came into work. And what had happened, that the way things had actually panned out in the meet, just to really keep us from getting any sleep at all, was we discovered this missed bust in the evening in the bar.
the night before,
as we had judged, and we had already by that stage we had judged up to round 9, of course, and Savolo and Ascension, the other team that was tied with Arium, they had already done their round 10, and Arium were first up on the first load the following morning. So we arrived at work the next morning knowing that 2 jumps were in. It's not a fast round. Arium is going up right now to do it. It was hugely stressful, and we just thought, how do you manage the guilt if Arium comes down and they once again tied? And not just the guilt for yourself as a judge, but also I think, for both teams, it's not a nice way to end a meet, right? the team who wins says, I won because there was something really obvious. And the team who didn't win says, well, we could have won, but there was this thing. So for us, you know, it's a terrible thing to say, but we were so relieved there wasn't a jump off. We were so relieved that it sorted itself out in the same direction that it should have been the night before. You know, it's just, really, we carried a big burden on our shoulders of that because, you know, you don't want that on you.
So I'll be sending you those video clips, except for on mine. Okay, now I'll be sending.
Well, you know what? There is a good thing, definitely something very good about it. You have that behind now, your historical mess up, because now you're going back to the Russian 8-way.
Exactly.
And,
Oh,
we don't want to.
No, that's true. But something else that just from our nationals, I mean, that we don't traditionally, because, you know, in terms of our numbers of competitors, we traditionally don't have a lot of 8-way teams. And when there is one, there might be a kind of a scratch team as a second team, and you know, we'd have maybe one team that really is focused. And it was nice to see at this event where there's a team named Ragnar. They were put together. It was kind of a Colin Rothman project of handing it over his 8-way knowledge to new jumpers, and they've been going a couple of years, 3 years or so. And this year, it was really nice to see them get it together with these guys. Some of them are quite novice.
In fact, one of them is a member of Erin.
Yes. And, you know, we've got difficult planes to exit, difficult doors, and we never get altitude. So, you know, we've got high altitude drop zone. So your dropping altitude never goes over 11,000 foot. So with all of that, they've actually managed to put together 10 rounds for the first time in a long time. We've had 10 rounds of 8-way where they could exit properly, 13,000 foot, they had oxygen, 13,000 foot exits, and, you know, have a proper 8-way meet.
Yeah, that was really exciting.
That was
great. Maybe they will go to the next world meet.
Well, we are hoping so. You know, I don't know if they're interested in it. None of them have been committal. We have asked a couple of the members, and they're a little non-committal at this stage. But you know, it was really, really good to see. And at our nationals, because the 8-way guys are always part of 4-way teams as well, and often part of 2-way development teams as well to help the novices. What inevitably happens is if time starts to run short, the 8-way gets cut in rounds. With their permission, you know, they say, well, look, we have to focus on our 4-way, or we want the novices to get a good 2-way full meet. You know, so it was just really exciting, firstly, to see how much they're progressing with the wealth of knowledge that Colin has been able to bring for them, but also just to see that they got full 10 rounds. They got to see what their average was, you know, and now all we'd like to see is to have another 8-way team that can compete with them, you know, compete against them. But certainly, I think for us, it was a really exciting week just to have the 8-way feature a little bit, you know, and looking so good after a couple of years of trying, you know, really battling. It's not easy, especially out of these aircraft.
I have to check the historic records to see if how many times South Africa has had an 8-way team, you know, at World Championships.
We've had, you know, our last time we had a serious 8-way team was in 2008 in the Verge, where Colin was on that team. Colin Rothman was on that with Banner Parker and them. They had an 8-way team, and that year they'd done a lot of training, and I think they might have ended roughly on the 10-ish average. So they were, you know, they were fairly good. They trained a lot. They've done some camps, but subsequent to that, we've had very much scratch teams. So it's been 12 years.
It's been very dry, and we've had a couple of enthusiastic people trying to start, but just not really with the experience that they need for the guidance. You know, so I think really we saw a very, very significant change in that team when Colin came on board and started guiding them, and you know. And it was really nice of him because he just looked and he said, you know, looking around and just seeing that now that he's moving to Scotland, and he said he just sees this gap in South Africa where there's nobody really left who concentrated on 8-way in the past. So it's actually a big relief that he noticed that gap and that he is, you know, he's taken on the team, because definitely that's been the change in direction we've noticed.
Yeah.
That it's been incredibly valuable what he's done, which is really great.
Yeah. So,
leadership, that's what it takes always, you know, somebody taking the reins of it.
Yeah,
the experience, well, for sure. And it'd be nice next year to get a second FA team, which I hope will now happen.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
probably can get another team in there.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a lot of great and entertaining information coming from South Africa, and now we'll go back to the Shamrock Cloud, and in the next week, hopefully, then very soon we come back with the next batch of rounds. You know, the next rounds.
And Kurt, the judging might take a little bit longer now because we're going to have to watch everything 3 times.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no confidence.
Take your time. Take your time. Okay. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. What time is it now in South Africa? We're 12 hours away from each other. Or what is it?
6.
6. It's 10 past 6 p.m. now.
6 in the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a human time. No problem at all. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the only thing is it's now winter, basically going to winter, so the sun is down at 6.
Which is depressing for us because that's about as late as the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Well, and enjoy your bottle of wine or glass of wine or whatever is coming up, and have a nice evening.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy the rest of the day. Good to chat to you again.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Sorry.
I said good to chat to you again.
Okay. It's breaking up now. Towards the end, I cannot believe it's breaking up. I still didn't hear it clear. I'm sorry.
No, I just said it was good to chat to you again.
Oh, of course it was. Yeah, sorry. So I'm glad it's only happening at the end of our conversation. Yeah, that it's breaking up. Thank you very much. Yes, always a pleasure here too, of course. And
Thanks,
hopefully it will be live very soon again somewhere.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Which would be Russia, right? Is InTime planning for? Okay, InTime will be at Russia.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you again. Good night.
Okay.
Thank you. Cheers.